everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Speaker Creative. Today's episode is extra special because I'm with someone and I've known him for, wow, quite a long time, but we haven't had contact up until recently when I was looking for a resource to talk about leadership and to talk about advocacies. I'm sure you've heard of Rotary Club quite a lot of times, and I think back when I was in high school, I was part of that club, or even grade school, under a different name. So please welcome to the show and to the podcast, Melvir Buela.
Hello, Jessica.
We went to the same high school,
Yeah.
but you're a few years ahead. We're not going to mention the year. Of course, you don't want to
Yes.
sound dated, but this guy right here, to anyone who's listening, is a very talented person. When I was in high school, we were talking about this offline. Every time there is a quiz bee, a contest of academics, he would always be on that list, and he's always winning. He's pretty much across everything academically. So he's someone that we look up to because he's very smart and he graduated valedictorian. But Melvin, right now, what you do is something that I think a lot of our listeners and our audience will be very interested in. But can you share a little bit more about yourself before we dive into that?
Okay, my name is Melvir Buela. I'm presently the president of our Rotary Club. Our club's name is Rotary Club of Midtown Diliman. And presently, the presidents of the Rotary Club in our district is called Imaginative Super President. That's ISP. Because the Rotary theme for this year is Imagine Rotary. It's actually bouncing off from the pandemic. And so, we are trying to imagine a world post-pandemic and, what actions to be done in order to go back to our normal lives or living under the new normal. So imagine Rotary. So we are called Imaginative Super Presidents. So what I do now, apart from being the president of our club, is that I am affiliated with a steel company. I've been with this company for more than 16 years, actually. So from college, I applied to this job, and luckily, I've been in this company for more than 16 years already, doing different roles from where I started more than 16 years ago. So I think the reason why I am with the Rotary Club, I'm just continuing what I've started since elementary days. And you mentioned a while ago that back in high school, we were in the same club. It's called actually an Interact Club.
Yeah.
So we have the Rotary Club for the professionals,
Mhm.
the more seasoned, we don't want to call it senior members of the Rotary world. So it's a Rotary Club, and then we have the Rotaract Club for the young professionals, those even in college. And we have for high school students, the Interact Club. So
Okay.
we even have an early act. So those are the younger than the interactors or the Interact Club. So we were in the same Interact Club of Lucena North. Our sponsoring club was the Rotary Club of Lucena North
Mhm.
for Quezon National High School some years ago. So yeah, this is actually just going back to my roots of helping promote and implement the advocacies of the Rotary Club. So this is what I've been doing.
Well, 16 years with Still Asia. And yeah, I remember Interact Club and entered high school. That was one of the clubs that I personally participated in. Yes, we were both in that club. But can you refresh my mind, Melvin? Because I was trying to remember what we did back then. I mean, what were the activities that we were doing? I mean, for someone who is listening right now, a high school student who might be interested, do we have a similar club in our school? And what are the activities in the Interact Club?
Well, during that time, the Interact Club was different from any other school clubs. Like, we had the English club, science club, but the Interact Club was focused mainly on outreach programs and social work. And of course, we had, because it's mostly for students, so we had some activities like academic contests as well. I say writing, quiz bee, among the students from different schools in the Sena City. But apart from that, if I could remember it right, we were doing also some community work.
Yeah.
So it's basically aligned with the advocacies of Rotary International. So it's a bit of it has similarities with the other academic clubs,
Mhm.
but it has an added flavor to it in such a way that the youth were being trained to be a part of to be more active in
Mhm.
community development and social work. So trying to create some meaningful impact to the not just in school but to the communities where they belong, something like that.
I am not sure though. Do we still have that club? Would you know? In I'm not
Oh,
sure whether we still have it in our high school or if it's active in any of the high schools within our province.
yeah, unfortunately, I haven't checked that whether our inter club is still active in Quezon National High School. But what I know is that there are a lot of inter clubs really active uh, up to this day, and even in our district in Quezon City, we have inter clubs working,
Mhm.
joining together with the Rotary Up and the Rotary clubs, different Rotary clubs. In fact, our club is planning to establish our own intra club.
Oh.
So because just last year, actually, we formed our own Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Midtown Diliman. So this year we are planning to form our intra club as well. So why not, teach the youth, the young, and pull them towards um, supporting the advocacies of Rotary International instead of, doing some other things,
Right.
like just spending their times on their time on gadgets, for example, something like that. So why not make their lives more meaningful by putting them towards the advocacies of Rotary International. So that's what we're planning to do also, build our own Interact Lab. And hopefully, perhaps when I visit our hometown, Lucena again, I'll check whether our Interact Lab is still active.
Yeah, I think it would be good. And judging from what you're planning to do as well, Melvir, creating your own. I remember it was one of those clubs back in high school wherein we're very much engaged, and I felt that I belong in to something that has a bigger purpose rather than just a name to a club. Um, and you're absolutely right. It's better to start them young, especially nowadays where we're in attention of a lot of youth nowadays are more focused on anything that's I don't want to say superficial, but of course, where do they spend most of their time? So having an
Mhm.
interact club like what you're planning to have in Midtown Diliman would definitely help. So hearing you talk about that you are the president of Midtown Diliman Rotary Club,
Yes.
that it's sort of a continuation of what you started back in high school. Hearing you talk about that, Melvir, made me feel that you are an ardent supporter of not just being a leader, but also giving to the community and to the society. When we talk about Rotary Club, a lot of people will always ask, or I guess a lot of people who might be hearing the word Rotary for the first time, be wondering what do they do? And you touched on this a little bit earlier when you mentioned about community causes, um, and helping the community, social causes. But aside from that, what are the things that Rotary Club does?
The Rotary Club is actually like a family. It's always a question of what's in it for a member to become a member of the Rotary Club. But actually, this is just purely volunteerism. What we get aside from having a family outside of our respective families is that we have singular goals of really trying to make a difference in our communities by doing projects. For example, our projects now touch on the 7 areas of focus of Rotary International. This means that we are trying to address, disease prevention and treatment, child and mother care and child's health, basic education and literacy, environmental protection, and other areas to focus of Rotary International. So, well, we don't get any, honorarium or salary by being a member, but it kind of brings out from our hearts, the cheerful giver
Mhm.
in one of each one of us,
Mhm.
is volunteerism and being cheerful givers,
Yeah.
trying to make a difference, apart from our daily routine, our daily lives. What's our purpose really? And this is how we manifest our purpose in this world. There are a lot of issues, concerns, problems in the world today. How do we make a person's life, for example, better than yesterday, or a community's future, better than it was yesterday? So trying to create a trajectory towards a better society, a better future for them. So this is what we're trying to do as Rotarians. And how how does one become a member? Is through invitation for us. We invite some potential candidates. It doesn't have an age limit, but of course, mostly are professionals already.
Mhm.
They just have to attend the club meeting 3 times, and then we assess internally, and if one passes, then he gets to be inducted as a member of the Rotary Club, and then pay dues. We pay dues to the Rotary International, and
Mhm.
then for our district, we have a very good management system in the district. We have to comply with some reporting, with some, you know, um, apart from the payment of dues, submission of reports, what we do, so that, we get monitored whether our club will be a going concern, will be able to sustain itself.
Right.
Because as you know, some really cannot continue the membership because of some circumstances in their lives, but we have
Mhm.
to institute, policies also, and ways on how to retain our membership. So that is how the Rotary Club really works.
I'm glad that you gave us that insight, Melvir, on the membership. And probably some people will ask, why is there an assessment process? And correct me if I'm wrong, it's volunteerism, right? And you mentioned about having a being a cheerful giver and having that heart of servantship. And probably the reason why is there is an assessment because we want to ensure that people who will be volunteering will be able to commit their
Yeah.
time and resources.
Mhm.
But feel free to add as well, Melver, as to why there is that process. Why is it by invitation and why you have to attend X number of meetings and there is an assessment?
Yeah, actually, it's by invitation, but one can signify his intention to be a member. Then, of course, it's through a member. You cannot just walk in and apply, because no one would really know where we conduct, the meeting. So,
Right.
it's usually, the membership comes from the different networks of
Mhm. Yeah.
the existing members actually, and well, we assess the potential member, because yeah, you mentioned that if he or she will be able to commit, and of course we have to in a way assess his or her motive of joining,
Right.
um, things like that. It's the usual process of vetting, the member, so that we can maintain, the what you call this, harmony within the membership, so as to address any potential issue as
Yeah.
well. So of course we have to assess whether the background also, but
Mhm.
not really going into like an intelligence way of assessing the background, something like that. But of course we have to vet.
Yeah. But I think what I heard as well from you, Melver, is the Rotary Club, while it is invitation, we do encourage members to
Yes.
apply, especially if you have the heart to serve. And I think it's important as well to capture that because I mean there are a lot of clubs out there as well who have probably the same mission and vision as Rotary. But Rotary has been around for a really long time, and it the reputation and the values that it upholds continue to be evident and in what you do in the club. And judging from the number of clubs, we were talking offline, the number of clubs that we have specifically in the Philippines, a lot. And you've been doing a lot of work in the community as well. So while there is, of course, what we call an assessment, I hope that that will not discourage people to learn more about Rotary Club, because there's so much that this club and this organization do for the community. So Melvir, if say someone is interested to be part of Rotary and say they won't be able to commit the time, is there any way that they can be a member? I'm just thinking if let's say they won't be able to, let's say, attend the meetings, or if they want to participate in the advocacies of Rotary Club, is there any way that they can do that?
Yeah, actually, our, for example, our club does not require 100%
Mhm.
attendance, but we encourage, of course, for the member to be present at all times in every project. But of course, they, like me, I'm also working,
Right.
and some of the projects are done on weekdays, for example. So I won't be able to attend like a particular project because, of course,
Mhm.
my priority is my source of income, of my livelihood. So yeah, we don't discourage. For example, it's not actually the assessment is not like a formal. It's just a simple, if a member can vouch for the character
Mhm.
of his recruit, then so be it. In my experience, I haven't really encountered one being denied or rejected
Mhm.
of the membership. Uh, so we don't actually, as much possible, we encourage one to join our club. For example, it's really to promote Rotary, and the more is better, because that would mean sustainability of the club as well.
Okay.
um Growth is always part of our goal every year, to grow the membership of the club, because there will be more warm bodies or more helping hands
Yeah.
to make our projects successful,
Yeah.
uh, right? So yeah, it's just going through the process of getting the character, something like that. But it's not really to discourage one to become a member, and we don't force a member to attend. It's really volunteerism. So the level of commitment is up to the how the member can contribute
Yeah.
his time, his resources. We don't force any member to give contribution if he cannot,
Yeah.
example, for a particular project, because
Mhm.
most of the projects of Rotary, if not through sponsorships, it's the club members contributing whatever amount of money he or she can contribute.
Mhm.
So, and then of course we get support from different organizations as well, even corporate sponsorships, in order to be able to execute our projects or programs. So we don't force a member to contribute financially if
Mhm.
you cannot. But so most of the time, it's really the presence and the whatever other contributions they can give to a project or to the club. It's not just about financial contribution.
Okay. Thank you, Melvir, for that
Yeah.
additional insights about the membership. Because I'm sure people are asking, and if I want to be a member, how do I apply? Who do I get into?
Yeah.
One other thing, since you mentioned earlier, as we were talking offline, that there are a lot of, like, per city, is that right? How many per district there is a Rotary Club? Is that correct?
Yeah, well, the Quezon City district is unique in such a way that it is one city, one district,
Okay.
because normally it's a district is composed of different cities or different provinces, just like in the Philippines. For example, District 3820, which is where Lucena belongs. other municipalities and other provinces also belong to that district
Okay.
3820. But our district is district 3780, which is only Quezon City,
Oh,
and inside it's about 101 clubs.
wow.
Mm.
That is a lot.
So it is one district, one city in the whole world. We are the only city that is considered as one district
Ah,
already.
okay.
Quezon City.
So if they, let's say, if someone who, let's say, let's in the Senate, right? If they want to be part of, and let's say they got an invitation. So there is a Rotary Club for the specific district in Quezon, where Indocena is under that district.
Yeah, and even in Lucena, there are different clubs.
Okay.
Just like our sponsoring club before, the Rotary Club of Lucena North. And
Hmm.
there's a Lucena South, there is Metro Lucena,
There's
I
a lot.
believe.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll never get short of Rotary clubs, you guys.
Yes, yes. So
There's a lot. Okay. So Melby, you touched on the different advocacies of Rotary clubs earlier, and we talk about how the club is contributing for to the community, and any assistance that you guys can assist or extend to those who are in need. Can you cite several community projects, maybe, or specific advocacies that the Midtime Diliman is currently doing?
okay, our project, our club, we have a signature project which is the Rotoran and Rotamile. This Rotoran is a fun run. It's called Takbo and Padyak para sa mga guro ng bayan. So we hold this fun run and cycling event where the proceeds go to our scholarship fund. So
Mhm.
presently we have teacher scholars. We are supporting teachers, not the students. These are public school teachers who are completing their master's degree in education. So many scholarship programs have been, have are geared towards supporting students, but this time we focus on the teachers, arming them with more knowledge and more tools on how to teach better. I don't know if that is the correct word, or just to improve, pursue higher education so that they'd be able to do their passion of teaching better. But you know teaching the teachers is a very good way in order for them to be able to um, mold their students better. If a teacher lacks this kind of support, then it will be very challenging for the teacher to be able to perform his or her task well. So we thought of why not support the teachers. These are public high school teachers, and with a meager, oops, this is kind of controversial. Let's say that the kind of salary that they get
Yes. Okay.
may not be enough to
Pursue.
support their pursuit for higher education. Then this is the area that we are supporting them with. So it's the RCMD scholarship program.
Oh,
So this is one of our projects.
mhm.
So we have from time to time medical missions
Okay.
that we do either by together with other clubs or other organizations, and sometimes just on our own. We get support and donations from, for example, the Department of Health for vaccines, for medicines, for vitamins, and in some cases also from some sister clubs or from other organizations. So we get sponsors, and whether in kind or through in the form of medicines or vitamins, and also monetary support. So another project would be, we have this Rota Artes. It's an art exhibit
Whoa.
because many of our members and their spouses are actually artists. So we have held a few art exhibits, and the recent big exhibit that we had was last year.
Mhm.
We held it at the Newport World Resorts in August 2022, and it was really very successful. And we were able to invite some influencers and big names, and got media coverage as well. But what is more important is that the proceeds of that exhibit went to our scholarship program and the End Polio campaign of Rotary. End Polio now is has been a global campaign of
Mm.
Rotary International. And that's the reason why actually the world was able to get rid of polio
Yeah.
through Rotary. But we are continuing this advocacy and this cause, because if we stop it, then the future, the children that will be born may be susceptible to the risk of getting polio, right? So we continue to this advocacy of end polio now, and we support this campaign. So those are, and then the proceeds also went to our medical missions. And right now, we have a 5-year strategic development plan for our community in Rizal.
Oh.
So last year we had a needs assessment. So it
Mhm.
would always start with a needs assessment of what kind of support does this community need. So they are in need of fresh water. It was really very challenging for the community, and livelihood, source of livelihood, because they were just relying on bamboo, sawali.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, if it's off season, they resort to kaingin farming, which is illegal, right? Or a semblance of that. I think kaingin is really illegal, so a semblance of kaingin farming. And so we would like to support them with a sustainable livelihood project. So this is a 5-year strategic plan. We cannot just do this overnight, or implement a project that is like a band-aid solution
Mhm.
to what the community really needs. So this is what we've been developing, and we are talking with different sectors, trying to get support on how we can, uplift the lives of the people in this community.
Wow.
So these are just some of the projects that we are doing in our club.
I like the fact, Melvir, that it the span of support that you're extending is not focusing on just one aspect of the society. So you manage to focus on one thing that is sometimes overlooked: teachers, right? Because most of the time, students are what we would like to support, because a lot of
Yes.
children nowadays couldn't afford to go to school. But you're able to tap into that mindset of course, to be able to help the children, you also need to equip the people who are teaching them. And like
Mhm.
what you said, for teachers, the salary they're getting isn't enough for them to support their, if they want to pursue higher education. So that's really a good initiative that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to, because it's sometimes overlooked. And then um, the one that you talked about, the Rizal project, the 5-year strategic plan, I think there are a lot of communities there who are really in need of help. I think I've read and heard from stories from several people who are living in Rizal, and there are a lot of communities there who are definitely in need of help. And the
Yeah.
art exhibit
Close to your heart.
got me at
Yeah.
art. I was like, ooh,
I
like,
saw your eyes spark when I mentioned that.
yeah, I was like, oh wow, wow. So there are a lot of members are artists, and
Yes. Yes.
so they those are their works that they put on exhibit, and then people purchase their works. Or
Yes, actually, we had a 2-week exhibit at the Newport World Resorts. And actually, we're having the second edition on February 2026 at the
oh,
same venue. Yes,
favorite.
very timely because February is National Arts Month, right? So we were able to get again the support of Newport World Resorts to hold the exhibit at the plaza second floor. So that's got to be on February 20 to 26. So yeah, we invite art enthusiasts,
Yeah,
collectors, and yeah, it's available for also to the walk-in buyers. And what's good is that Newport has this online market where they can also buy the paintings.
paintings from there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. So
So hopefully you'll be successful as before.
I'm sure it will be. I think when it comes to art, um, and a lot of people don't realize that there are a lot of art enthusiasts and people who do support creative pursuits. So when you
Yeah.
mentioned that earlier, I was like, wow, I'm glad that the volunteers of Rotary has agreed to share their talents in the form of paintings. And it's like hitting two birds with one stone. So you were able to support their creative pursuits by encouraging them to paint and showcase their works, and at the same time for people to consume art, and their consumption would lead to an extension of an assistance and help, as what you mentioned earlier. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good initiative. Okay.
Yeah, perhaps in the future we can invite you to join our exhibit.
I'm not yet on the level that people would really want to buy
No,
it.
it's okay. Even we invite also amateur artists, just so they can showcase their artworks and express. And there are really those that support the
Yeah.
art is it depends on the beholder, yeah, right?
Yeah.
On the buyer. It may be amateurish for some, but for some, it resonates to them. So why not, right?
Yeah. We'll see. One thing I love to
Mm.
do as well is to teach kids how to make art,
Mm,
create art. So
yes.
maybe that if you have an activity like that, I would be very much willing to join. So Melvin,
We have
you
actually
do.
in that
Okay.
community in Rizal, yeah,
Oh,
during the needs assessment trip that we had, in partnership with this Color Your Life foundation or NGO, that one of our rotor actors, actually she's the president now.
mhm.
She has this group called Color Your Life, and so part of what we did in the community when we visited is to teach teach the kids art. Yeah, we had a workshop, something like that.
I would be very much interested to do that because I think art when it comes to kids, right? It's not always encouraged. For one reason is, of course, it's always perceived as a hobby, not something that will bring you success later on in life. And one other thing is the supplies can be quite expensive. So
Hmm.
not a lot of kids do have access to that resources, and then people who are willing to teach them how to make art. So count me in. And then okay, so Melvir, being part of Rotary, and you mentioned this earlier. So this what you do right now as a president of Midtown Diliman, and is an extension of what you've been doing since high school. What have you learned? One, being a member and a volunteer of Rotary, and as a leader of Rotary Club. What has changed throughout the years, judging from how you witnessed people coming in and as a member and volunteer of Rotary, and all the advocacies that you have done over the years as well?
Oh, that's a tough question, but I think
Go there.
let me start with what has not changed. What
Okay.
has not changed is that we are still trying to address the same problems in the community, the same issues and challenges in the community. That's why Rotary is trying to contribute or make is trying to make its contribution towards how to minimize all of these challenges, especially for our kababayans, right? So that does not change. They're still present. I mean, these social ills, these social challenges, they're still here. And through Rotary, perhaps we can make the lives of some families better. For example, education. Education is a right? But many do not have access to education. So that's why it's also in one of the 7 areas of focus of Rotary is basic education and literacy. And
Mm.
so we actually have adopted schools. Apart from adopted communities, we have adopted schools, elementary school and high school, and we create programs on how to support uh, the students. Apart from, of course, we are supporting the teachers now, but the students, like the feeding programs, to address the issue of malnutrition, for example, and access to right now, not just books, but gadgets are essential now in the, in for the students, these are very essential now. So what have changed? I think because we are entering into, or we are now in the digital world, and there's a lot of technological advancements already. I think it is easier now to
Mhm.
reach out to more volunteers,
Yeah.
because I think everyone is aware of what's happening in the environment. Everyone has access to information almost in an instant. Uh, at the time the information or the event is happening. So we we were able to, I think we are able to create impact to people who have, you know, in their hearts would like to uh, contribute to the society and create or make a meaningful difference in the society. And so it's also easier now to, reach out to friends or some other networks to join in our causes. So that, I forbid, that's the big change now. Technology is able to make it easier for us to reach out to partners, to donors, to beneficiaries, and to potential members. So I think it's easier now than before. But I would like to highlight what has not changed, and still we are trying to confront all these challenges
Mm.
and contribute towards, reducing or making it less for the families or the societies or communities that we are trying to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Melvir. I think that's a really good comparison of what hasn't changed and
Mhm.
what Rotary Club is continuing to do in the community and what has changed so far. You're absolutely right. It's much easier now to reach out compared to before, right? Very analog, very to communicate and to get your message across. Nowadays, you can really leverage on the use of social media to
Yes.
yeah for your advocacies. I guess one final question, Melvir. We talk about having being a cheerful giver and having that heart of um volunteerism, the heart to serve. For someone who, I think this is always a question, right? People will say that I don't have the capacity, that I don't have the resources, this is just me, that belittling mindset, that what can I offer? I mean, in general, as a whole, when you talk about having a heart to serve, to give, what pieces of advice, probably, or golden nuggets that you can share with our audience and our listeners to encourage them that I think we are designed to serve. We are placed in this world to serve others more than ourselves. But feel free to share anything that you can share with our audience, Melvir, when it comes to that, having a heart to serve and volunteerism.
Yeah, you're right. Service, it comes to mind, especially volunteerism. They would think that that will require resources, money, and unfortunately, if you are financially challenged, then that really constrains you from doing whatever passion you have. And if you have that heart of a cheerful giver and you have the passion to serve the community, sometimes it frustrates you that you are not able to contribute much or not contribute at all because you don't have the financial capacity to do that. But what's good with Rotary is that it's not limited to people who have money and who can contribute money, can only contribute money. What is more important actually is the presence, because as an organization, of course, it's a mix of different individuals who have come together, coming from different backgrounds, coming from different statuses in life. So one contributing his financial resources, the other contributing his physical presence or his creative talents, his time, his efforts. could really make a meaningful impact to the community. So if you can be, you can contribute your time, you can contribute your talent. For example, our artists,
Yeah.
we're not asking them for money, but through their artworks, we're able to do or to implement our scholarship fund, right, or scholarship program. So yeah, I think it's just sending across this message to those who have the passion to serve, that it's not just about money or having the capacity, financial capacity to serve. What's more important is that you are committed and you are passionate to serve, and the rest will just fall into place. If you have that kind of heart, I think it will draw the kind of support that you need, enable for you to fulfill whatever program or plan that you intend to implement in a community, even in your barangay alone. So that just go for it, and support will come, especially in the Rotary Club. That's how I have experienced so far, being a Rotarian, and now I am leading the club. One does not have to be financially endowed to be able to serve.
Yeah.
You can serve through different means, and with whatever you have, time, talent, creativity, and all that. It's not just about money.
Well,
What is important is that you serve and you push for it, go for it.
wow, that is definitely a call to action to anyone who's listening to this episode. But thank you so much, Melvir. That's beautifully said. I think hopefully that will encourage everyone who listened to this episode to serve um,
Yeah.
in whatever capacity that you have. As you mentioned, time, resources, skills, and talent. There are a lot of things that we possess that can be used to help others. So thank you for highlighting that, Melvir, and for taking us through your journey in Rotary and what Rotary Club, its mission and vision, the membership. I think that's really important. So I'm going to add those details as well in the description box for anyone who's interested. Again, there are a lot of clubs all over the Philippines. There's no shortage of clubs if you want to be part of Rotary, or you can reach out to Melvir as well if you want to learn
Yes.
more about Rotary.
Our doors open for you.
Melvir, I remember with Rotary Club, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but there is this four-way test. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that's actually the pillar of Rotary and its members. It's the four-way test, basic foundation where everyone is working on, and where we are drawing our strength from. It's a guiding principle of Rotary, the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So those questions should be answered with yes, 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 yes. Yeah. So that's basically the guiding principle of Rotary, and that's where we draw our strength from whenever we for example decide on a particular project to pursue, or how do we implement the project. Um, Considering the partnerships, some of the projects, many politicians would like to come in and support, but of course we will have to assess whether would it be just for the political gain, or is it a pure um, service that
Yes.
we would like to do, right? So is it fair to all concerned? Will it be, is it the truth? So we have to answer those four questions, the guiding principle of Rotary, the four-way test.
I remember that. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I mean, probably on the road you also see that on a billboard, and but those are good questions to ask. Um and definitely the to say the pillars, right, of everything that you do in
Yeah,
Rotary. Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you for reminding me of those four questions earlier.
Pang quiz bee.
Oh, come
It was
on.
asked.
Melvin, thank you so much for your time, for your
Yeah,
generosity.
my pleasure, my honor.
Thank
Actually,
you.
it's so nice to see you again.
Yes, after
Let's meet since you're based in
years.
Makati, so let's meet one of these.
Coffee
Yeah,
or tea. Let's do that.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Melvin, for being on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All
Yes,
right.
yeah.
Thank you.